Yeah. Unrighteousness. Bhikkhus, when kings are unrighteous, the royal vassals become unrighteous. When the royal vassals are unrighteous, Brahmins and householders become unrighteous. When Brahmins and householders become unrighteous, the people of the town and the countryside become unrighteous. When the people of the town and the countryside are unrighteous, the sun and the moon proceed off course. When the sun and the moon proceed off course, the constellations and the stars proceed off course. When the constellations and the stars proceed off course, day and night proceed off course. The months and fortnights proceed off course. The seasons and years proceed off course. When the seasons and years proceed off course, the wind blows off course and at random. When the wind blows off course and at random, the deities become upset. When the deities become upset, sufficient rain does not fall. When sufficient rain does not fall, the crops ripen irregularly. When people eat crops that ripen irregularly, they become short-lived, ugly, weak, and sickly. Because when kings are righteous, the royal vassals become righteous. When the royal vassals are righteous, Brahmins and householders become righteous. The Brahmin and householders are righteous, the towns and countryside become righteous. When the people of the towns and countryside are righteous, the sun and the moon proceed on course. When the sun and the moon proceed on course, the constellations and the stars proceed on course. When the constellations and the stars proceed on course, day and night proceed on course. The years proceed on course. When the season and years proceed on course, the wind blows on course independently. When the wind blows on course and dependently, the deities do not become upset. When the deities are not upset, sufficient rain falls. When sufficient rain falls, the crops ripen in season. When people eat crops that ripen in season, they become long-lived, beautiful, strong, and healthy.
That's all.
That's all.
A good phrase. Your elaboration?
Well, from my understanding, I believe that if a king, and I think this is seen in a lot of different societies, right? When a person of power is righteous and does his job for the people rather than become greedy, the people around him also have, well, him or her, the people around the person in power also have that mindset. And if a king were to be greedy, his nobles or the vassals of power also become greedy, and then they tax very high, and they rush, the people working under them, and they steal money from them, and it becomes a very unhealthy society to live in, because rather than doing your job, for the people, you're trying to become greedy, and that eventually results in crop failures because people are too greedy over stuff, and they rush crops, and then they usually go in famine or have no food to eat. They gotta die out, and vice versa.
Okay. So this cause is called unrighteousness,
Kena.
or in Pali we call it Adhammika
Adhammika.
Sutta. So I think you have graphed the basic idea in this sutta, in the discourse.
Kena.
But let me explain you how. But you can bring back the theory of dependent origination, the cause and effect.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. So that is why I told you at the beginning when I started teaching you the law of cause and effect, or the Paticcasamuppada can be applied to every
aspect
in life,
Kena.
or even the origination of the cosmology, or in terms of the creationism. So let us start. So this is from the words of the Buddha.
Kena.
we call it the numeral discourses of nhà nó này. Đúng không Hoàng? I'm sorry. Okay, so where I stopped about the origination, dependent origination, the theory can be applied to every aspect of life. Okay, so let us start again. So because when kings are unrighteous, so we are talking about the kings. So at that time,
the highest point of power.
the highest point of power, who control everything, who in the power. But
king.
in modern aspect,
society,
who are they? Kings,
politicians,
and
presidents, governments,
president, prime minister. Okay, but they are still king, like United States, in Cambodia, in Thailand, in Bhutan, in Brunei, to the best of my knowledge, and even in Japan, the empire.
Yeah, they have, but they don't do anything.
Correct, like
Cambodia's king doesn't have that much power.
Correct.
But compared to England and Thailand, they have a lot of power.
Because it is, how to say that? It is fixed. It is set in the legislation. Yeah, that is why they have so much power. Okay, so in modern term, we can say that when the presidents and prime ministers are unrighteous, so the term unrighteous can be, different different areas. So corruption, in modern term,
corruption, thievery, tax evasion. They're all just, you would categorize it as corruption.
Corruption,
abuse of power.
Correct. Simply everything. It's everything. So simply unrighteous, we can say bad. Simply bad at every aspect of the administrative system. So it starts from the president and prime minister, simply the kings, according to discourse, when they are unrighteous, when they are corrupted mentally and physically. And what happened? The royal vassals become unrighteous. So when the kings, simply when the prime ministers and presidents are unrighteous, are corrupted,
the rest of the government body,
I mean their officers, the ministers who manage different ministries, right? Okay, and we can add, because royal vassal can be added their family members. So when like daughters, wife, son, or relatives. So in modern term, when the entire family of the prime ministers or the presidents are unrighteous or are corrupted, we can say what happened. When the royal vassals are unrighteous, Brahmins and householders become unrighteous. Brahmins here, the advisors, or we can say the religious leaders who advise, who guide the kings to rule the country, who are close to the kings. Okay, how householders here refer to the businessmen, entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs. So businessmen. So when they are, so it starts. You can say it has a very unique connection between the people who are in the power in terms of politics, in terms of economy. So you understand that point, yeah? So when the householders, the businessmen who do the business become unrighteous. So when the Brahmins, the religious advisors, and householders, the businessmen, are corrupted, what happened? The people of the towns and countryside
People working under them.
correct, including citizen everywhere. I mean, in modern term, according to the United States, you can say the states,
Genau.
the people of the state. It can be the people of the provinces, the people of the town, the people of the villages. So they will become unrighteous. So when the people of the town and countryside are unrighteous, so we stop here. Let me repeat again. When the kings, when the royal vassals, when the Brahmins, when the householders, uh, when the people of the town are becoming unrighteous, mentally, physically corrupted, you know what happened? The sun and the moon proceed off course.
Genau.
Another term is erratic.
Genau.
So you can see that how the mentality of the human can affect on the cosmology,
Genau.
the way that the cosmology works. Okay, so and in modern term, we can say that everyone in the society, starting from the king to the normal people, when they are unrighteous, you know what happened to the cosmology? The sun and moon proceed of course. It means what? It doesn't proceed or work according to the natural nature.
Genau.
Okay. Then when the sun and moon proceed off course, you know what happened? Constellations. You know constellation, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like according to astrology, it they have the power. They have kinds of influence on the way we live.
Genau.
Okay, uh, so uh, so when the constellations and the stars proceed of course, then we move that. The day and night proceed of course. After that, months, fortnights, and then seasons, years proceed of course. Okay, so let us briefly connect human. So it starts from human. After human, we call it cosmology, right? I mean, I don't know how you
Astrology.
as
Astrology is when
astro
you like look at the stars.
the star, and how to call them, like the sun, moon, for one term, the solar system, right?
Genau.
Okay. So when the entire humanity is unrighteous, what happened?
Yeah, rest of
The solar system, the entire solar system
the
proceed of course.
Genau.
And then what happened? The weather or the season, we can say, okay, the weather or season, because season includes day and night also, right?
Genau.
The month and year. So the season and the climate and the weather are becoming erratic. And then what happened? Winds, okay, even the winds blow of course and at random, so
Genau.
they become erratic. So when winds blow of course and at random, what happened? This is connection with the deities. The deities become upset.
Genau.
So this is Buddhist point of view, and this is the point that Buddhism tries to emphasize us on praying.
Genau.
Praying is useless when we don't have anything within us.
Genau.
Okay, because
You pray for to who or for nothing.
correct.
Like what did you do to deserve it?
Yeah. So when you are, mentally and physically corrupted, have so much bad thing within you, you did the bad things to the society, so you cannot go before the god or someone and you ask for forgiveness. So this is the Buddhist point of view. Even the deities, because why? And you might ask the question, why deities are become upset? Because according to Buddhist point of view, they are still beings like whose mentality and physicality are operated under the law of cause and effect, starting from what? Ignorance. So they have the same mental system like us, even, but they have more power in terms of wholesomeness or goodness,
Gonna.
but they still get angry and upset because they witness the human beings are unrighteous and did so many bad things to the nature. Because I mean, even the deities, divine beings, have different level of realm. So
Gonna.
some deities, they are living with us, on the trees, or like, and so on, so on. So they will become upset, and that is why we are not advised to ask from them when you have done something bad
Gonna.
for yourself or the society. But I mean, have you ever witnessed that
I would
at the
just make them mad, right?
correct?
If
Mm-mm.
you brought bad karma upon
Mm.
yourself and then you don't seek to change it,
Yeah,
you don't do anything better,
yeah,
and then you go pray to someone,
yeah,
like, who do you think
correct.
you are?
Yeah, they won't help you, and uh, but in opposite, I mean, on contrast, you can ask them for something after doing something good.
You know,
Hopefully you have ever witnessed what I mean, after each and every religious activity, everybody's have to transfer merits to the departed ones,
you
and
know,
the final one is to the divine beings,
you
like
know.
we call say aka sattha chupumata, and like that. So just let you to understand that is the connection involved in every aspect of religious activities we practice. So what happened then? So when the deity is upset, sufficient rain does not fall. So according to Buddhist perspective, I mean, rains, I mean, on this day are not, we call it, are not sufficient, are not, how to say that? Uh, Simply they are erratic, they are
You know,
not good rain.
you know,
Okay, when the sufficient rain does not fall, what happened? The crops ripen irregularly.
you know.
So what happened then?
People eat
Eat
those crops.
those crop which uh, which are not ripen irregularly. Then they become how?
They
They
become sick.
become short-lived. I mean, short-lived mean like less, no long life.
You know,
Okay, no longevity. Then become ugly, become weak, and
die.
sickly,
You can.
and yeah, can. So I want you to understand the connection between the human mentality,
And how it affects the
how
world.
it's affect the world.
You know.
And that is why some people ask why we are inflicted by COVID-19, by why we are suffering from different kinds of diseases.
I think it comes from this.
From this, how you interpret? Yeah.
So let's just talk about
Mm,
climate change.
correct.
Yeah. We have our presidents and government bodies who overall choose whether or not
Mm,
the country continues to,
mm,
cut down trees and contribute more to
mm,
climate change. If that president were to not care,
mhm,
then the rest of the government body will not enforce laws as strongly as that.
correct.
People who work, who are higher up
Mm,
and whose businesses
mhm,
depend on
mm,
these things will increase the amount that they're
mm,
contributing.
mhm,
Like, let's say people who mining
mm.
oil
Yeah,
or cutting down trees,
yeah, correct.
farmers
Mhm,
with cows,
mhm,
all of that contribute to
mhm,
climate change.
mhm,
After that, if they see a change in that, people will get used to it and start,
mhm,
using it more,
mhm,
or or like not caring, being
mhm,
oblivious. Then
mhm,
all of a sudden, because of our actions, the
mhm,
climate starts changing. It starts
mhm,
getting hotter.
mhm,
There are bigger weather patterns. We don't
mhm,
know what's gonna happen, and
mhm.
then it results in drought or crop failure,
Correct.
all that stuff,
Mm,
and people die
mm,
because
mm.
we didn't care.
Yeah. Now you can understand that natural disasters, different kinds of diseases, or to say that different kinds of pollutions
Yeah.
are originated from the mind of human.
Yeah. I don't
So
think pollution would have happened
correct.
to this point
Mm-hmm.
if humans weren't here. I think it's funny how climate change was on the brink of
Mm-hmm.
being irreversible,
Mm.
then all of a sudden COVID-19
Yep.
just happened.
Mm.
It's like the world trying to reset. It was about to get past that barrier
Mm.
where we couldn't do anything anymore,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden everything shut down.
Mhm.
People couldn't drive, they couldn't go out of their house.
Yeah. So even I mean even the Buddha didn't say it directly or in the modern terms. This is what, to be honest, what I understand. And when we interpret it, when we dissect it, very deep, we can understand that everything has a cause.
Gonna-
Everything has a cause. Human beings become short-lived. Human beings become ugly, weak, sick, and suffering from different, you know,
Diseases.
diseases because of their own mind.
The spread of
Mm.
COVID-19
Mhm.
is due to our choices, or
Correct.
the choices of the governments. To
Yep.
be honest,
Mm.
um, in America, they choose freedom
Mm.
over public safety,
Mhm.
and you don't have to wear a mask. You
Mhm.
don't have to do this and that.
Mm.
Well, sometimes they'll put you on lockdown, but that's kind of your choice whether or not you go out.
Mhm.
And that's why America has so many deaths and so many cases, is because people don't put it as precedent,
Mhm.
and they get cocky. I
Yeah.
think they believe that, oh, it's this day and age, we'll probably get over it.
Mm.
But people are ignorant there.
Mm.
And I think also India saw this happening, and they know that they have slums, and
Mm.
people.
Mm.
I think the situation is worse in America because people there do not have the space.
Mm.
They're not as rich or as wealthy as the people in America,
Yeah.
but they did nothing to they did nothing to stop it, or
Mm.
you know in preparation. And now what happened. Look what happened.
And they were deluded by their own religious belief. They think that God will
You know,
save them by because they went to the
the river.
river and to do the praying, that they strongly believe that God will help them to be free from the COVID-19, but in reality no. So this is we have to address, this is where the karmic circle works.
You know,
Then there is a saying, that what goes around comes around.
you know,
So when you think bad, the bad will come to you, but in different form. You might say it is not my mistake, it is not my fault. What did we do wrong for the world? Why this thing happened to us? And if you remember the simile
you know,
uh, given by Venerable Nagasena about the mango, about the fire spread,
you know.
you know.
Even if it's
Mm.
not yours directly,
Mm.
it is still a responsibility.
Mm.
Responsibility as humans, I think.
Correct.
Because yeah, I think everybody contributes to pollution.
You are correct. You are correct.
Everybody, they leave their lights on. If humans weren't here, none of this would happen. But we just have to make sure we have good deeds and do what we know is right,
Mm.
and not fall in unrighteousness. Don't go out of your way to do bad things. When you're going outside, wear a mask.
So, and another perspective here is Buddhism doesn't hold a view of what, like everything is created by God. Even I mean, how to say that? I want to say that Buddhism is quite not quite human is humanistic. That everything, I mean, human beings must be responsible for everything happening in the universe.
You know,
Everything,
you know.
as I said, climate change, the war, uh, you know, increasing of the different kinds of diseases. So everything starts from human mind. That's I want to say. Even the evolution of the cosmology, even the evolution of the sun, of the moon, and the star, and even as you said, yeah, everything, the climate change. Okay, so this is the connection. I want you to learn that. So if you want to change, what we should do is the solution is here.
You know,
Can you elaborate?
you have to start with the government bodies,
Mhm.
and you have to make sure that they aren't like they're enforcing righteous
Mhm.
views,
Mhm.
and because nobody's gonna listen to
Mhm.
you,
Correct.
they're gonna listen to the people in power,
Yeah.
and if the government sets in rules that are saying you cannot do this and do that, business people or the entrepreneurs no longer can do it. If they keep enforcing it, they will
Correct.
stop doing it.
Yeah.
People adapt.
Mhm.
If you don't have that thing to adapt, nobody will change. Especially when it comes to money.
Mhm. Yeah.
If they notice that they can make more money doing this, they will do it.
Mhm.
That's the human nature. And so if it has to start with government,
Mhm.
and once the governments get better, business people get better.
Mhm.
Once that their workers get better, then everybody gets better. And you have to set it's people become less ignorant.
Mhm.
When you are greedy, you are ignorant.
Correct.
When all you think about money,
Mhm.
when all you think about is money,
Mhm.
the the effects that you have are kind of blinded. You look only at the money. But if you see everything, you become more knowledgeable. And then as a society or your country, you grow into a better society. That's what I think.
To be honest, I love your interpretation because it parallels to another discourse. Buddha said that we must have two eyes:
You know,
the eyes of materiality and the eyes of spirituality.
you know,
You must be endowed with that two eyes. You have to balance it as human beings. And as you said that when we are blinded by the materiality or by the money, we will do everything, even destroy the entire planet
and kill.
and kill everyone and deforestation, and produce different kinds of weapon for the money, for the power.
You know,
So this is the power of ignorance, this is the power of desire.
you know,
And 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 if you remember the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the cause of the suffering.
you know,
What is the cause of the suffering? Desire.
you know,
So diseases or COVID-19 is a part of, it's a different form of the suffering. So when the desire of the human being increases, the more desire human being have, the more, how to say that, the more calamities and chaos human will experience. So this is the theory cause of effect. But if you want to reduce, you have to change the way you live. So
I think also people they confuse desire or greed with just money, and they think like I don't think that I only want money or all that. And I'm not the cause of this. But then you have to look at other things, right? Feeling nationalistic. I think it's good to believe in your country, but when you want to win a war or when you think that not your country is the best, it causes conflicts. You're going out of your way to cause conflicts. And well, humanity is at a point where we've developed weapons that can just destroy the world in 15 minutes. Russia and the US with their bombs, and everybody and countries, they see that they also want power. So in the end they start trying to develop their own. And now we're stuck.
yeah. Okay, great elaboration. So read this, and yeah, so it's advice from the Buddha.
When cattle are crossing a ford, if the chief bull grows crookedly, all others grow crookedly, because their leader has gone crookedly. So too among human beings, when the one considered the chief behaves unrighteously, other people do as well. The entire kingdom is dejected if the king is unrighteous. When cattle are crossing a ford, if the chief bull goes straight across, all others go straight across, because their leader has gone straight. So too among human beings, when one considered the chief conducts himself righteously, other people do so as well. The entire kingdom rejoices if the king is righteous.
What is the simile you can learn from a discourse?
The simile is that You need to act. Well, when you're in a position of power, you have the responsibility to act righteous. There's a famous quote: "With great power comes great responsibility," and that is true. Because if you use your power unrighteously, people are going to believe that since it's okay for you to do it, they will do it. They learn through seeing, and if they see you doing it, they will also act as it. Because you're the
Yeah.
you're the leader.
Yeah.
They're supposed to follow you. And as humans, we live in groups. Um, we live in groups, and we find it easier to live in groups. So if the leader of that group is to be bad, we want to act the same. We are afraid of being kicked out, and so everybody would act bad. You have to set an example.
Absolutely right. So what a discourse. Can you remember the name of this course? The translation is
Unrighteousness.
unrighteous. The Pali is Adhammika Sutta.
Adhammika Sutta.
Yeah. You can learn like this is. I mean, this is how the Buddha interpret. To be honest, I love the discourse. To be honest with you, when the people are experiencing
Because
Adhammika.
I think you like this sutta, or like suttas like this, is because you can see it happening
You are right.
in not just in their world, but in our world,
In our
and
world.
see how what he says is very true and how it's connected to everything.
Yeah. Like if as I mentioned earlier, even the Buddha didn't use the related terms like climate change or
Yeah.
you know prime minister or president and so on, or but
Our mind can think of it.
correct, we can expand the philosophy and can apply and can look at the world. This is how everything works. And when it comes to COVID-19, I was, to be honest with you, I was not that surprised, and I was not that, how to say that, shocked about what's going on right now. I know that this is the result what we have been doing to the planet.
The pollution is crazy.
Correct.
There's a big island of trash in the middle of the
You
ocean.
are right. You are right. So, this I want you to learn.
Animals are dying. The world is trying to clean itself.
You are right. So, and when you if you have time, you can go to YouTube and check how many animals are killed every day. Not in Cambodia. If you check the United States, you check
For
in
food.
European, something for fun, something for food, and something. They have different kinds of perspective that the animals are not a part of the maintenance of the planet. They want to kill them. They just kill. So because they don't have kinds of belief, the karmic energy, the karmic circle, what goes around comes around. They don't. I think they don't have kinds of belief system. That is why Buddha said, the ignorance it's the greater destroyer. It's the great destroyer among human beings.
But like they kill all those animals, and a lot of food goes wasted.
Yeah.
I think that's even worse than killing the animals. If you kill the animals, at least make sure you eat everything.
Yeah.
If all the food is actually eaten, it's not that bad. But because you
Yeah.
throw it away, you're so what they call it, gluttonous, and you just want more and more and more. It's kind of disgusting.
It's over consumption, right? Overconsumption. And that is another saying from, I think, Mahatma Gandhi. I think, hope you have ever heard that. The earth is provides enough for human need, but not for human greed. So, like as you said, that we are, according to Buddhist perspective, we are allowed to eat, but you must eat enough, not too much. That is Buddhist perspective. Even, I mean, as the householders, I mean, as the people who lead the the household life, you are allowed to do everything, but as long as you don't break your precept and harm everyone, even the beings. So you have freedom to do everything, but as long as you don't harm anyone.
I think that it's a contrast, you know. Some countries eat so much and throw away so much, while some countries eat so little and want just to eat. It's, you know, kind of sad. You know, like the U.S., they kill like like so how many pounds of cows or meat every day, and then they throw away like a billion pounds of trash. Sad.
Okay, tomorrow I'm going to Cape. So
Are you going to Cap today or tomorrow?
tomorrow,
For how long?
no, like one day.
Oh.